What if budgeting could feel effortless rather than endless math? Today I share the budgeting system I actually use every day to stay on track without feeling deprived. I built it from the idea that money is a tool for living, not a puzzle that never fits. My approach blends practical steps with psychology so small, repeatable actions become the default you reach for when you wake up and when you wind down. If you've struggled with sticking to a plan or you've felt overwhelmed by numbers, this video is for you. It's about turning intention into habit and turning fear of the unknown into clarity you can act on. By the end you'll have a simple, repeatable daily budget that respects your values and your time. This is not about perfection. It's about consistency over time and a framework that scales with your life changes. So let's begin with the core idea behind the system and why it feels different from typical budgeting guidance. The core idea is to treat your budget as a living system that you interact with daily rather than a report you check once a month. When you interact with it every day, decisions become small and predictable. When decisions are predictable, your brain uses less energy, and you're more likely to follow through. This is where psychology matters. The moment you create a frictionless routine, something you can do in under a few minutes, your brain stops resisting and starts reinforcing the habit. In practice, that means designing a daily rhythm that reduces decision fatigue and makes good choices the path of least resistance. The system I use rests on 4 pillars: capture, allocate, automate, and review. Each pillar is simple, but when chained together, they create a powerful daily habit. First, capture. You want to collect 2 inputs every day: income that you expect to receive and the expenses you anticipate. This isn't a perfect forecast. It's a reliable snapshot you can act on. I pull up my budgeting sheet or app first thing in the morning and log any known changes. If there was a surprise yesterday, I note it here. The act of writing down numbers in a single place provides cognitive relief. It clears space in your mind to focus on decisions rather than memory. The goal is to reduce the mental clutter that makes budgeting feel heavy. If you're starting out, you can begin with a single category you know is imperfect but frequent, like groceries, and broaden from there as you gain confidence. Second, allocate. This is the moment when you replace vague intentions with concrete allocations. In a zero-based budgeting frame, every dollar gets a home. The process starts with fixed costs first: rent or mortgage, utilities, insurance, transportation, and essential subscriptions. After those are allocated, you move to flexible needs like groceries, gas, and personal care. Then you reserve some for wants, and finally you assign a small portion to savings or debt payoff. The key psychology trick here is to aim for full allocation across the most predictable portions of your income. That gives you a clean leftover for the variable pieces that will need adjustment as the month unfolds. If you set aside a specific amount for groceries but find you spent a bit more, you don't scramble for new budget lines. You revise the envelope for the week, not after the month has already passed. The actual numbers will look different for everyone, but the discipline is universal: decide where every dollar goes before you spend it. The act of pre-commitment, as psychologists call it, dramatically lowers the chance you'll spend impulsively later in the month. Third, automate. The power of budgeting is not just in human discipline, it's an automation that reduces daily friction. I automate transfers to sinking funds for irregular but predictable costs like car maintenance, wardrobe updates, or quarterly expenses. I also automate savings into a separate account for emergencies and future goals. The envelope concept translates digitally through categories and automatic transfers, so you rarely have to make a conscious choice about those funds. My system uses a small number of predictable, recurring actions that you can replicate in any banking app or budgeting tool. The automation is not magic, it's a guardrail that slows you down just enough to choose intentionally rather than reactively. Fourth, review. This is not a full audit, it's a quick, end-of-day check to confirm you stayed within plan and to course-correct with minimal drama. I spend 5 minutes reviewing what I spent versus what I allocated, identify any large deviations, and ask myself one question: where did I over or under allocate, and what can I adjust tomorrow to reduce that gap? The review turns into learning if you treat it as feedback rather than judgment. If you're new to this, you may need a longer review at first, but you'll find it becomes quick and nearly automatic over time. The psychology is straightforward: feedback loops reinforce behavior. When you see a small adjustment in the right direction, you feel more capable, not overwhelmed. Let me walk you through a concrete example so you can see how the pieces come together in a real day. Imagine a person with a net monthly income of $4,600 after taxes. This is just an example to illustrate the flow. They decide on fixed costs of $1,900 for the month, rent $1,350, utilities $180, internet $60, insurance $120, and a transit pass $190. They then allocate $700 toward groceries and household supplies, $150 for meals out, $160 for gas, $50 for clothing, and $100 for personal care. They reserve $600 for sinking funds, car maintenance, home repairs, and a small emergency cushion. Finally, they allocate $440 toward debt payoff or extra savings. After the allocations, there is still a modest buffer of $410 for miscellaneous needs that arise during the month. The important part is not the exact numbers but the process. You allocate first, then you live within those allocations, and you adjust as needed. On a daily basis, the routine supports this plan with minimal friction. In the morning, you check the day's spending target and confirm any expected changes. If you had a surprise expense, you decide whether to reallocate from a flexible category or to borrow from a buffer in a controlled way. The daily ritual is short and predictable. Glance at the budget, confirm the day's limit, and set a small goal for the day. This might be choosing to cook at home tonight instead of dining out, or deciding to use public transit instead of rideshare to save a few dollars. The point is consistency, not perfection. Small, deliberate choices compound over weeks and months into meaningful shifts in spending and savings. In the evening, the review takes place. You look at what you spent today and compare it to what you plan to spend. If you went over in one category, you ask a simple question: did I misestimate my needs, or did I let desire outpace discipline? The answer guides tomorrow's allocations. If you see a pattern, groceries consistently over budget or meals out creeping up, you adjust the next day's plan accordingly. The adjustments should be actionable and modest, perhaps reduce discretionary spending by $10 a day and reallocate to savings or debt payoff. The goal is not to punish yourself but to align your behavior with your clearer intention. Here are some concrete mechanics that make this work without turning you into a spreadsheet monk. First, the envelope mindset, adapted for modern finances, means you create visible ceilings for categories. You might label a digital envelope for groceries with a weekly allowance that resets every Sunday. You'll notice how the visual cue of a replenishable envelope makes you plan purchases more carefully because you see the remaining funds. Second, you keep a small, predictable buffer. This is your safety net for tiny variances. It's not a rainy day fund, but a self-permitted cushion that reduces the urge to raid savings when an unexpected price pops up. Third, you simplify the list. Fewer categories mean fewer decisions. A lean structure reduces cognitive load and helps you sustain the habit. When you do add categories, you ensure there is a clean, logical reason, something you can defend in one sentence when you're tempted to overcomplicate the plan. To help with memory and retention, I repeat a few phrases regularly. I remind myself that budgeting is a skill, not a punishment. I remind myself that the current month is a small experiment in behavior change. And I remind myself that consistency compounds, even when the results aren't dramatic week to week. This mindset reduces the anxiety that budgeting can trigger and instead channels energy into practical action. The system is designed to be forgiving and adjustable, so you don't feel stuck when life throws curveballs. You adjust, you try again, and you continue moving forward. A few potential pitfalls are worth addressing up front. One common trap is treating budget numbers as rigid rules rather than flexible targets. When a category consistently overruns, that's a signal to either adjust expectations or reallocate to reduce friction later. A second pitfall is neglecting the psychological triggers that drive spending. When you are tired, stressed, or hungry, you'll spend more. The daily routine helps counter this by providing a predictable, comforting structure that reduces the chance of impulsive decisions. A third pitfall is over-automation without accountability. Automating everything can create blind spots. It's important to keep a light-touch manual review so you remain connected to how money is flowing in your life. Finally, remember that this approach is not about financial guarantees or stock picks. It's about making your money behave in a way that fits your life, values, and long-term goals. If you're ready to personalize the system, start with 2 changes today. First, pick 2 fixed costs you can model precisely for the next month and write them down in your budget with exact amounts. This gives you a solid anchor and reduces variability early on. Second, set a small automatic transfer today for a sinking fund that matters to you, whether it's car maintenance, medical expenses, or a small emergency reserve. The act of setting up these 2 changes creates a psychological win that motivates you to keep going. You'll notice that once the routine is established, you'll begin to anticipate the morning and evening reviews as parts of your day rather than chores to complete. In conclusion, this budgeting system is intentionally simple, but it's also built on solid psychological principles. It leverages the power of daily engagement, clear allocations, and gentle automation to reduce decision fatigue and increase consistency. The goal is not to master every number but to create a reliable rhythm that aligns your spending with your values, your time, and your life. If you take one thing away from this video, let it be this: your budget should serve you, not overwhelm you. With a living system that you interact with daily, you can move toward greater financial clarity, reduced stress, and a sense of control that grows over time. If you want more templates, checklists, and a starter plan you can customize, I'll share those in the description below. Remember, this is educational content and not financial advice. Start small, stay consistent, and adapt as you learn what works for you.